Let me say welcome to all your viewers. And we are here tonight at Legend Cookhouse, and we are expecting some good discussion regarding business, regarding our sauce, regarding a community, regarding a lot of event that is happening today and going forward. We are hoping that we can get people who are interested to join us here or join us live. Um, your discussion and your question are going to be the focus on what we do here. The focus is to help people or to give people the information that they are requiring. Um, and based on our experience and our background, we will try to maybe not advise people, but we're trying to refer them to the right direction so they can get the right information and resolve something that might be bothering them. Some people might be considering opening a restaurant. Some people might be considering some other business. Some people might have a construction company. Some people might, something might be in the way or in their mind, and they want to explore it a little further. But of course, if you go to a lawyer, go somewhere, people tend to want fees. They want money in order to give information. But at this, in this forum, we are willing to find a way to help you. And I hope that it can be expanded and we get more in depth and we have more people to join us another time or something like that. But we have to start. If we don't start, we'll never get things kicked off. And I understand that sometimes folks have a lot on their mind, but they don't want, or they're a little timid to come out and express what is bothering them. What, and everyone sometimes need someone to tell them something. Talking about your situation or talking about what is bothering you, sometimes you yourself find a way or find a solution. Sometimes you keep it in and it never really materialize, or you never get a solution to it, or you put it in the back burner and it gets worse, right? So now as we have said, we haven't advertised this too much. We want it to grow organically, grow by people coming out one or two at a time, and then they post their help. And we are hoping that business people can come, a real estate person or investment person, somebody who has the knowledge and who have the background that can help individual in certain area. So we certainly, but people can still post their issue. They might be looking for a mortgage. They can post it there. Somebody who's watching can still interact and still find a way to provide useful information. You want to know who I am? Of course, I am the restaurant owner for many years. I've been living in the U.S. for almost 40 years. If you want to know what work I did, I started working in a factory back in 1985 and move along the chain and get to another level with education and get a career developed into banking and accounting, obtain a degree by going to university, and a well-developed career in accounting, working for some of the largest accounting firms in the world, and at the same time starting up a business. So not because you are focused on one area of your life, you cannot explore another area that might be of your interest. You can do that simultaneously. You can have help doing it. You can do it little at a time. Um, Takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of times. We have, I mean, I was lucky to have the ambition very early that I want to have a business, and I want to have an education, and I want to, to help, to keep my family together, and assist of my parents in or to elevate my other brothers and stuff like that, so they can have a stable life, stable situation at home, so they can pursue their dream even though they were young. So when you put all of that together, it is what it is today. It might not be the best, or it might not be the end goal, but it is where I am today, with all the rises and all the falls. This is the situation, or this is the end product of those efforts and those stuff. And I want to encourage people who are out there. It doesn't matter what your age is. You can be very young and have the ambition to want to do something. Try to get involved. Try to do it. Try to do it bit at a time. And the more you do it, you find better idea coming to yourself, and you kind of be able to handle a situation better, or to handle your growth a little better. It's always going to be mistakes. One of the rule is that you make the least mistake as possible, right? The more mistake you make, is the more you're gonna find it discouraging to pursue your dream. But it is success. I feel that it require the least amount of mistakes, the least amount of failure. If you keep doing things and you fail, you're setting yourself back. But you must try, right? So that to tell you that time is limited, resources are limited. Every time you get yourself set back, you kind of push yourself back. That's why it's important to talk to people who have experience, who are in the career, who are in the direction that you want to go. So I feel that this type of platform is giving people that encouragement, that to see someone who you aspire to be, to see that they are doing it, they are succeeding in what they're doing, right? So people change, people ideas change, people think what they're doing is not good and they want to do something else, or they're fed up doing what they're doing and they want to go on another branch, right? So that is in a layman term of what I feel that people need. People need encouragement. People need people around them. They need to first take the initiative on their own. A lot of times you would hear people say, "Hey, how long I want to do that? How long that was always something that I want to do." Do something about it. Do a little thing. Do something that can wet your beak, right? So, without any delay, I hope that someone have any question. If they don't, then we're going to be hanging around and have a conversation. It's our first episode, our first Thursday that we are going out there and do it. It wasn't well advertised in that sense, because we ourselves, we want to do this, and we started it. Doesn't matter if we're starting with one person, two person, three person, right? We, this is what we want to do, and we starting it. So what do you think about this, Leon?
So this is a first of many. As you said, we hopefully more specialists, experts in the field. As Rup said, we will have them in subsequent programs like this. Salim, good night to you. So we want you to post your questions in the comments. We have a few persons here who can answer your questions. Somebody had messaged me earlier today, or I think it was yesterday, from Guyana, how to open a restaurant. And you were alluding to that you have held down this restaurant for nearly 3 decades, is it?
Yeah.
And that question came back to my mind. The person messaged me. I get a lot of messages about a lot of questions from people every day. And that was one of the questions: how to open a restaurant. And so many restaurants have come and gone in our community here in New York City area. Since I came here, I've seen a few. They haven't lasted, too long. And those are some of the questions we want to discuss at these events, and we hope that more people will take up the invitation to come and in person, so we can talk about that and other pressing issues, relevant issues in business and alike. All right.
Well, since you mentioned starting up a restaurant, starting a successful restaurant is not easy. Starting up a successful restaurant for the long term is not an easy thing. There's a lot of stuff you go through. They said in life, the best chef sometimes cannot run the best restaurant. Not because you're a chef, you can run a restaurant, right? Not because you're a mechanic, you can run a repair shop. But, you must try. You don't know until you try, right? Now, restaurants failed. A lot of restaurants, according to statistics, half of the restaurant failed within the first 2 years. Right? Within the first 3 years, 75% of restaurants fail. Now, what is a good example of wanting to own a restaurant? What is a successful restaurant? What you're saying is that if you want to get in the restaurant business, you have the investment. The best way to get into the restaurant business is by owning a franchise. Franchise restaurants are already established. Their menu is already established. Their customer expectation is already established. And you open your door, customer is going to start coming because they know what to expect. You open up a mom and pop restaurant, it's the hardest thing. You either have to, if you don't have the funds or don't have the expertise to open up a franchise restaurant, the next best thing is to buy a successful restaurant, right? To purchase a restaurant. It's always people, old time, who said, hey, I'm done, I want to hang up, I'm out of here. And their location, they have existing customer. You bring your own ideas in, modern idea, trending ideas, and restaurant sometimes it's not all about the food, it's about the ambience. How relaxed people can be when they come and sit, or how fun they can be when they come and sit. Depends on what they want, right? A restaurant, basically, now you might say, what differentiate the restaurant based on popularity, based on high end? Some people may say, it's a high end restaurant, it's a low end restaurant. Largest restaurant in the United States at one time was the McDonald's. They had thousands of restaurants all over the place, many restaurants. So they were considered the largest restaurant when you think about their value. They were on the New York Stock Exchange, and you can become rich buying this stock if you had bought it at a certain time. It was one of the safest and lucrative investment if you were, say, in the 70s, when you had a bad economy, and they said these small restaurants, these takeout restaurants, not small restaurants, but these restaurants that sell food at a cheaper price are usually the restaurant that makes the most profit when things are down. People have a lot of money in their pocket. They're going to go and invest in a small in a restaurant with cheaper food. Now, you know, on high-end restaurant, say for example a steakhouse. Steak is one of the easiest things to cook. I don't know if you believe me or not, right? You go and you can buy from a good butcher. You can get some of the best cut steak, aged steak even, if you're thinking in that direction. And you can cook that at home. Best steak, right? But guess where people spend their most of their money when they feel good, they feel rich? At a steakhouse, right? You go there, you can spend, I think today, upwards of $70 to $140 for a piece of steak. You're not buying the cow, you're buying the steak, right? And you can make that same exact steak at your home, right? But you go to a steakhouse and you buy steak. Now, if you want to go to say a Applebee's, right? You can buy a steak there. You can go to Longhorn Steakhouse, buy a steak, a good steak. We have one, the Outback Steakhouse right here. You can go there, buy good steak. But some of the most expensive steak you're gonna buy at a steakhouse, right? Lobster and those kind of things. You go to a seafood place and you get those. So expectation is different based on the norm, right? The norm of society. So they said the best way to get into restaurant business is to get into the franchise. Any franchise. Subway sells sandwich. This, you know, I don't know about now, but that was the old, when I was researching about restaurant, that was the recommendation at that time. Ethnic restaurant, like what we are doing here, is not only about the food, it's about the community, right? You're building a community. You're building a place where people can go and meet people of their own habits, their own expectation, right? You go to a Jamaican restaurant, you hear people talking like if you're a Jamaican, you will hear people talk like a Jamaican, their accent, right? You feel at home, you feel comfortable. You're in a strange place. You go there and you relax, and you might make a friend. It's easy to make friends with people who you can relate to, right? It's easy for you to go and be among people like yourself. It's more trusting. That's what these type of places are. Is to keep that connection going. Is to keep that taste going. That expectation, is satisfaction going, right? So that is what I feel restaurants are, right? Not specifically, you know, get it right all the time, but that's the premise. That is something that you shoot for. A lot of constraint in getting to sometime to where you want to go, right? There's always, oh, I want to do better. I want to make it bigger. I want to make it more fancy. But all those things come with additional resources, right? Do you take it, and then you gotta keep it for a long time, or you gotta be in that industry for a while. Sometimes that industry, the customers are not so susceptible to quick changes. You know, they're not ready for it. You might not be ready for it. Sometimes, you know, so it's always a hit or miss, right? Every restaurant I feel that open up has some benefit to the community that it serves. There's something there that is benefit to the customer that it serves. You know, if it's not not a lot of time, not because it's not benefit that cause it to fail, is because sometimes they don't have the resources to go on, because there's a lot of times that, you know, you can't get the resources, financing from the bank. You can't get other way relatives sometimes to help you finance these things. And sometimes, you know, so sometimes you gotta make the decision, do I wanna go out of business, or do I wanna take on a partner? Do I wanna take on an investor, right? That is what these kind of things is for. You got a restaurant who's struggling, a guy might wanna come in a restaurant, existing restaurant there for 5-6 years. And he might say, you know what? I like that guy, that he is there and he's running the store, he's there all the time. Even though he don't have the funding, I am going to see if I can provide the funding and get a piece of the pie, right? Now, everything, of course, has responsibility, right? Not because some guy come and invest $100,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 in your business mean that you're out of the woods, right? Now, that guy that comes in, you basically have to work harder, because now you have that responsibility to make sure that that guy don't lose his money, even though you can't guarantee it. But you now are obligated. You have obligation. You have responsibility now, right? You can just take people money and say, "Oh, it alleviate my struggle." No, that guy invests his money in order to gain a return, and if you, and of course that guy has to do his due diligence as well to make sure that this is the right guy. This guy had the drive, got the expertise, or whatever he has, and the only thing he was lacking is funding, right? He has a vision. He has something, you know, that he has going on. So on this program, I might be the first guy to go based on the question you have about a guy wanting to open up a restaurant, right? There's other stuff that is required, right? But you know, based on their question, that's because they might have their own level of understanding. They might have their own level of knowing what to do already, right? All they needed is a little encouragement, some place to start, you know, those kind of things. So with that said, if nobody has any more of these questions for a restaurateur, we'll leave it as that. And of course, from the Legend Cookhouse, being in it for 20 years has allowed us to have new idea barn, right? Give birth to new ideas. Now we started the sauce, we did other stuff, and of course with my brothers then we have the Legend Resto in Florida, and it's a nightclub restaurant. It's a huge place. So all started by us starting small, right? We started in a place on Atlantic Avenue, 118th Street. Was just a bar back in the days, but that's what was in our mind at the time, to open up a bar. We were in late 20s and we want to have a business, and that's what came available to us. when we wanted to go do something else, we ponder upon different ideas. We went into construction, do all kind of stuff, and then we realized we already have experience, 5-6 years experience doing this, and this is what we know to do, or what to do at this point, right? We run, and then we come and we open up the Legend and Cookhouse here. When time come for us to do something else in Florida, and they wanted to, after, you know, taking into consideration a lot of other stuff, the end result is this is what we know how to do, and this is what we've been doing for all these years. So we kind of went on to do the Legend Restaurant Lounge. People are enjoying it in Florida. You know, same food that we have here. We branch out and have them prepare the same way, the same food. So, and I feel that's a big hit over there with the food. The nightclub has its own customer base, a lot of promotion, a lot of, so, but we're learning that as we're going along as well, you know. And even here, we still keep learning. Environment keep changing, and we have to adapt and those kind of things. So, people who want to open a restaurant, I hope that can inspire them. There's room for everybody. There's never, I mean, if that's what you want to do it. One restaurant can serve this community. You have to have more. People deserve more. If you have more, the more you can go up to have a steakhouse. Do something that you can know rightfully is going to benefit the people who were here, right? So, you know, we have,
now we introduce her.
There's different in different aspects of business, and I'll let Melissa come on and explain her business. Melissa is my daughter-in-law, and she is the owner, and she runs and operates Malissa and Co. on Lefferts Boulevard. This is her stuff here. So he's there on 10421 Lefferts Boulevard, and she is here in person. And of course, that's going to probably kick things off in the right direction. It's tax season, right? And
busy time.
you know, you might want to have a tax expert to handle your matters that you have right now, right? So we're gonna have Melissa come, and she's gonna have a nice seat there, and
as Melissa comes on, we'd like to say hi to Paul Prasad. Paul is watching. Paul, now the next one, we'd like you to come here, offer your real estate expertise. Paul has been a long time in the real estate business. So Paul Prasad, good night to you. We hope to have you and many other specialties, persons with special skills. And so one such person we have tonight at this business networking event is Melissa. Melissa is from Melissa and Co. Business Consulting. She is a tax preparer, qualified tax preparer, and she also looked after immigration matters. Hi Melissa, good evening to you and welcome to the Legend Cookhouse and to this first business networking event. Melissa readily accepted and is making herself available tonight. Guys, in the meantime, she will talk about taxes, she will talk about a little bit about immigration and much other services that her office provides on Lefferts Boulevard, business consulting. So in the meantime, start thinking up your questions that you would like to ask Melissa tonight and post them in the comments, and she will do her best to answer your questions. So Melissa, hi again to you, and thanks for joining us tonight at the Legend Cookhouse.
Hi everyone, thank you all for having me. First, thank you Legend Cookhouse, everyone here for having me. The food is amazing here, the ambiance is great, so if you have not been here, please come and check out Legend Cookhouse. So as Leon mentioned, I do taxes, I also do other business related matters. If you need help with your business tax returns, opening up of businesses, tax IDs, if you don't have a social security number, but you would like to apply for an IRS tax ID number, we do that as well. We do a lot of immigration matters, sponsorships, green cards, asylum applications, citizenship applications, visa extensions, green card renewals. So we do a lot of different things. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. To the best of my knowledge, I will try to answer you. And we are located at 10421 Lefferts Boulevard. We do get really busy during the day, so if you do try to reach us by phone, sometimes it's better to email. That's info@melissahco.com, or you can always text us at 516-384-2761. So if you guys have any questions or need to know more information about something that you're unsure of, feel free to ask.
And one of the major services that you provide is applying for passports.
Right, yes. I forgot to mention the passport, yes.
American and Guyanese
Yes,
passports.
right. So by no means are we telling you not to go to the Guyana consulate. We encourage you to go there. We started offering to help assist clients with Guyana passport renewals during COVID. The Guyana consulate was closed, and a lot of people either do not know how to travel there after they reopen, or they just simply want to come to a community office, which is what I am, to assist with their renewal. So we do actually send the passport and get it renewed for you. So that's Guyana passports, and we do the blue passports and we do the green passports. Also, a lot of people don't know, if you're an American citizen, you can still have your Guyana passport. So please don't get rid of your Guyana passport or lose it, because you can still use it to travel. And we also do American passports. If you are a first-time American passport holder, unfortunately we can't help you. We can help you fill out the form, and then we'll book an appointment for you to go to the post office, because they need to ID you since it's your first time. You have to go to the post office, but we can help you fill out the form. But if you have already been an American passport holder and your passport was issued after you turned 16, your most recent passport, we can definitely help you at our office. We expedite it, so if you need any help with that, we do that as well.
Good, good. We want to say good night to Cindy from Mall. Good. She says, hi, Melissa, good evening. Guys, post your questions from Melissa. If you have any questions on any services that she provides, you know, you can apply for green cards and a whole host of other things. And you regularly receive a lot of mail from USCIS,
Yes.
green card, work permits.
Right.
Get your questions going. We want to ask Melissa lots of questions tonight at this business networking event. So taxes, the IRS recently said that it's 28 or 29.
Yes, so it's
people can start filing.
right. So January 29th, the IRS will be open for e-filing. So if you have your tax documents now, you can always come by my office. We can start the tax return, but I won't be able to actually submit it to the IRS until January 29th, because that's when they're open for e-filing. But by all means, come in, we'll get the tax return out of the way, and then on the 29th, you don't have to come back. I'll just submit it electronically to the IRS.
Good, good. What if anybody needs to do any authorization to do something in Guyana?
Yes.
I think that's a very unique
Yes.
service your
We do
office
that.
provides as well.
Yes, thank you, Leon, for reminding me of that. So we also do authorizations and power of attorneys for people who are here in America but have to transact business in Guyana for one reason or another. If you cannot go back there and you need to do any banking transactions, sell property, change something with your property, go pay a bill at the light and electric, and something related to your property, or just authorizing someone to do a transaction on your behalf, we do that at my office. You would just need to come by with your ID and let us know who you will be authorizing or giving power of attorney to in Guyana.
All right, we're talking with Melissa here of Melissa and Co. Business Consulting. Our office is just off Lefferts and Lefferts Boulevard and Liberty Avenue. please post your questions and regarding taxes, consultation, immigration, and she will answer.
Business formation.
Business formation.
Different
Yes.
entity.
We do
what-
business formation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people.
What are the benefits of
Yes,
different?
definitely.
business?
So a lot of people don't know that you can own a business in New York State with a tax identification number, a tax ID number, without a social security number. That you can get an EIN number and you can own your own business. So if you're looking to open a business, start your first step of making your dreams a reality, we can start opening your LLC, your corporation, whatever it is that you're
Partnership.
planning on doing. Yeah, partnership. And we
Trust,
also,
even. Yes.
yeah, trust.
If you
and-
want to do
right.
investment and you want to put your investment in a separate, protective,
Right.
something for the future or something like that. Some people might need estate planning or something like that, and people with financial background will be able to help them by, know how to protect their funds and how to.
Yeah, come.
Yeah, so Melissa office can be able to help with all of that, to tell in some way, if whatever she can't do on her own, I'm sure it can be referred out. You have
Yeah.
attorneys that are partners in the
Right.
business, and they are very competent in what they do. You guys have the immigration attorney, you have injury attorneys,
Yeah.
and
Like trust attorneys,
Yes,
if
it-
you are selling your house and you all of a sudden have a big lump of cash and you don't know what to do with it, we have attorneys that can help you manage.
and you
your,
can plan as well.
liquid
You say, hey,
funds.
I don't want all this cash to go to my children. I want it to
Well,
go
yeah.
slowly to my children, right? So you kind of create a trust, and you have some trustee or somebody who is going to operate that trust, right? They're going to say, hey, this guy wishes is for his grandchildren or his son to get this money, or until he is 50 years old, because you don't want them to squander it, right? So he worked hard for his property, and then sometimes he realized that everybody's doing well at the moment, and they might want some additional for their own retirement. So what they do, they use the family property and they protect it for the future.
Right.
Right. So there is a lot of stuff that people can be advised on. Being, in the financial industry, there's so much mechanism that is there out there to help people, but people, it's just that some folks are too shy to go get the information, or think it's too expensive to get the information. But it's available. Sometimes it's available for cheap. I'm sure, Melissa, you go to her office, those information will be given to you. Melissa is very qualified. She has a master's degree in finances. She's worked in the industry, and she's surrounded by people who have spent many years in the industry. So there's a lot of information out there. I myself have a lot of information, been in the industry for many years, and I have friends who are in the industry still. So it's a lot of information, it's a lot of knowledge that is within that office. Yes.
And if you guys just joined us, we're at a business networking event here, and we have a professional here, Melissa of Melissa and Co. Business Consulting of Lefferts Boulevard, Liberty Avenue. And if you don't want to put your questions here publicly, you can get in touch with Melissa. Melissa, what's your number again?
Yes.
On your email, and they
Yes.
can email you.
Yep.
If you feel your question, is too personal, you may want to reach out to her personally.
So my email is info@Melissa melissah.co.com. Again, that's info@melissah.co.com. You can always text us at 516-384-2761. We also have an office number that's 718-480-3518.
Good. We have please post your questions, guys. Well, we have a compliment here. Cindy Permal says she's doing a lot of stuff for people, guys, so you can go and check her out. We want some questions. We appreciate the compliments, but we want your questions. Gal Kumar says 2 weeks ago I had Legend food and it was so good. I will come again. Yes, we're coming to you live here from the Legend Cookhouse with Melissa. What were some of the most sought after services in 2023 at your office?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people, citizenship applications, a lot of people have either reached their time to do their citizenship. So depending on how you got your green card, like if your spouse sponsored you or by other means, the timing is different. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're still married to them, you can apply for citizenship in 2 years and 9 months, as opposed to someone who is sponsored by their parent or their child, or a spouse that's a green card holder. They have to wait 4 years and 9 months. Another service is sponsorships. A lot of people got married. I'm also a licensed marriage officer, by the way. So if you want to get married, I can marry you legally. You just have to go to the court to get the license. Once you obtain the license, you can come to my office and I can sign your marriage license, or if you need me to actually ordain your wedding at, wherever you're having your wedding, you can book me for that as well. So back to the sponsorships, a lot of people got married and either their spouse is in America or in another country. So depending on where they are, your case would go to the National Visa Center. If they're in another country or in America, it would, depending on what state you're in. By the way, we service all 50 states. I don't just have clients in New York. I have clients all over the country. I even have clients in other countries, not just Guyana. I have clients in Barbados, St. Thomas, Suriname, Trinidad. These are just to name a few. But we have in Canada, we have clients everywhere. So don't feel like we're only limited to New York and the US. You don't be shy. You can always message me. And we were saying earlier, if there's something I can't do, I can always refer you to someone. I have a large network of other business partners that are well versed in the industry. So if there's something I can't do, I can always refer you.
Stella wants the number. Her number again is 718-480-3518. Stella, that's the number to Stella Harry Prashad. The contact number 718-480-3518. You're open Mondays to Saturdays, right?
Yes. So we will be changing our hours to 6 days a week at the end of this month. So we will be changing. Most likely the last week of January will be open Tuesday to Sunday to cater for tax season. Another thing I did want to mention in 2023 with taxes, make sure you have all your documentation, because I've noticed a lot of people have come in to do amendments on their tax returns because they didn't bring me all the documentation, or they didn't know they had another 1099 or another W-2 or a mortgage statement or an interest statement from the bank. So make sure you remember all the jobs you worked for and you obtain all those W-2s, because if you're, or 1099s or whatever the tax form is, because if you do not if you're missing a form, the IRS won't get back to you the next month, but they will come back even a year after and say, hey, you forgot to disclose this income. And then we have to do an amendment, and then they can charge you interest and penalties and fees. So make sure before you do your tax return, you get all of your tax documents. So if, even if you worked at a job on the books for a couple weeks, they still have to give you a W-2. And if you're unsure, if you're getting a W-2 or 1099, I would recommend reaching out to the company that you worked for.
No questions so far. Come on, guys. You have free advice tonight. We only have a few minutes more with Melissa here. So ask your questions. If not, you can reach out directly to her, 718-480-3518, or email info@Melissa, MELI, 2 S's, AHCO.com. Melissa, you provide citizenship classes. That's very interesting.
Yes.
For those aspiring becoming Americans.
Right. So some of my clients either want to brush up on their skills. So we do provide 1-hour sessions where we will go over different vocabulary terms, different questions that will be found on your citizenship exam. And people who are not familiar with the citizenship test, so you get called in for an interview. The first part is verbal. They ask you questions about your background, basic questions like, are you married? Who sponsored you? Where do you live? Where do you work? And then they go into the actual civic test. So they ask you 10 American history questions. And when you do your citizenship application with us, we give you a free 100-question pamphlet to study. So out of that pamphlet, which is directly from USCIS, you will be asked 10 questions. I don't know which 10 questions it will be. If you answer 6 correctly, you will not be asked the full 10. Once you pass that section, then you go on to the reading and writing. The interviewer will be giving you a sentence to read. You have to read that. That sentence is not a random sentence. The sentence has to do with American history. So there's terms that relate to American history. After you do that, they will verbally tell you, please write, the prompt can be George Washington was the first president, or citizens can vote, or something related to American history. So just brush up on that. So we do help you with retaining that knowledge. And for people that don't know how to read and write, you don't have to be scared or afraid. There are ways around that. You can still go for your citizenship and you can pass. You would have to obtain a waiver for a medical exemption. So that is more to be discussed. You can contact me, but that's something that you would have to get signed by a licensed medical person, which is usually somebody who's in the psychology, medicine field, or a neurologist. So we do refer people to those doctors as well, and people have come out successful when they get these waivers. So if you don't know how to read and write and you're really scared, there's ways around it. So you can contact us, and there's also exemptions if you've had your green card for 20 years and you're a certain age. So, you can always explore those things.
Hemanat, another compliment. She is very good. And we have a question here from Raj Prasad. Says, good night. If someone is living in Canada and trying to get a job in the US, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so thank you, Raj, for your question. This is something that we also do. So you would first have to find a company in the US that is willing to sponsor you. So this is under the employer sponsorship, which our office does also take care of. You would have to first find a company. If you work for a company in Canada and they have an office in the US, you can ask them, if you transfer, how can they sponsor you? That is something they can do. We, unfortunately, this is actually a common question I get, if we find companies for clients to be sponsored. Unfortunately, I don't find companies for people to be sponsored through, but it just goes through research. So if you're in the medicine field, then you would have to get a job in that field. You would have to show that you have certain degrees and certain knowledge in that field. So it can't just be something random. So you would have to stick with your field that you're already in. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Melissa. Tracy Ann Raghunandan asks, can you transfer my property into a trust at your office?
Yes. Hi, Tracy. Thank you for your question. Yes, we do that paperwork. So if you are interested, you can come into my office. We don't require appointments, or you can also email me to set up a time if you do want a specific time. But yes, we do that paperwork.
All right, we're chatting with Melissa here, Melissa and Co-Business Consulting, Liberty Avenue, Lefferts Boulevard. Her office number is 718-480-3518, 10421 Lefferts Boulevard. Post your questions and she will answer them. Immigration, taxes, consultation, and business formation as well. I'm waiting some more questions.
I had 3 other hot topics recently in my office that a lot of clients have reached out about. First is green cards. Like, do you get a 2-year green card? Do you get a 10-year green card? Like, how do you know? So if you're married to your spouse and the marriage is under 2 years, like if you married for under 2 years and you get your green card before your second marriage anniversary, you will get a 2-year green card. You are not getting a 10-year. So you have to stay married to your spouse for the next 2 years, and then you can file for your 10-year. So that's number 1. But if you've been married to your spouse for more than 2 years, and that's when your green card comes out, you'll get a 10-year. Another question people have asked me, the petition to remove conditional residence. So we do that at my office as well. That's for people who have a 2-year green card and they're married to a citizen, so they have to show that they're still married to their spouse. So we do that paperwork. And also, what people don't know is, if you are doing the petition to remove conditional residence and you're still waiting for your green card and it's been like a couple months and you're eligible for citizenship, when I say eligible, you already had your green card for 2 years and 9 months and you're still waiting for your 10-year green card, you can file for your citizenship, and that will help things go faster. So that's something people don't know. They think they have to wait for their 10-year before they can do their citizenship, but that's not true. Third is tax IDs. So if you have a tax ID and you did not file at least one tax return in a 3-year consecutive year period, your tax ID is invalid. So make sure you do your taxes at least once in a 3-year period, because your tax ID will become invalid. So that's something like really important. A lot of people fail to realize.
Good. Thank you very much. Salim asked if you're living in Guyana and if you are in Guyana and you would like to start a business in New York, do you know what the process is?
Yeah, definitely. So we would definitely need you to actually have a tax ID number or a social security number. That's number 1. So these are both obtained by the IRS. So first, we would need to get that established. Secondly, depending on the type of business that you're trying to do, there will be licenses involved. So when I say licenses, let's say the restaurant business we were talking about earlier, you'll need a food handling license, you'll need a lease, you'll need workers' compensation, you'll need disability policies, you'll need beer and liquor license. So that's just one example, but there are licenses involved, and we also, we have to start the paperwork. So we have to first, disclose, do you want to do an LLC? Do you want to do a partnership? Do you want to do a corporation? I would need to obtain the IDs of everybody involved. But the number 1 thing is we first need to make sure the responsible party, meaning the person who will be the main point of contact, at least has a tax ID number or an IRS social security number. So if that is something that you already have, we can start it. But if that's something you need to get, you can also contact me.
And you can contact our telephone 718-480-3518. Post your questions for free advice tonight here at this business networking event at the Legend Cookhouse. We have Melissa here, tax preparer, tax specialist, and she has immigration attorneys at her office as well. So post your immigration questions. Rauf asks, after someone applies for citizenship, how long does it take for the process to be completed? And
Yes.
that's a common question you gotta know a lot.
That is, yes. Hi, Raul, thank you for your question. So right now, honestly, it's taking about 2 months to get an interview. That's now. So that's as of November. Anybody who applied in November to now, for my clients at least, I do everything electronically. So when I submit your application electronically, you will get an appointment date to go in for your interview in 2 months. And when I say 2 months, that means you're getting the letter in 2 months. So for example, if you applied in November for your citizenship application, in January, you will get a letter for a date in February to go in, because your date is always at least 30 days before. So yes, to answer your question, 2 months. So if you come now, you'll probably get an interview date in March for April. And to go back to the citizenship a little bit more, the process is you do your citizenship application first. Then within a week, you get your case number. And then within a week, I'll also know if you need to do biometrics. Biometrics is a fingerprint and a photo. If you need to do biometrics, they will send a letter to go do your biometrics. I don't pick the location or the date or time, so they randomly give that to us. If you don't need to do biometrics, they will also send a letter saying you don't need to do biometrics, so all you're doing is you're waiting for your date. And another common question is, people ask me, does my passport have to be valid while I'm applying for citizenship? No, it does not. So if you are applying for citizenship, if you don't plan on traveling, your passport doesn't need to be valid. They don't care about that. But if you do want to travel while you're waiting for your interview, yes, then you should have a valid passport. But just for applying, it does not have to be valid. Another thing on this topic, if your green card is about to be expired and you are eligible for citizenship, if you do your citizenship, your green card will automatically be renewed. You don't have to pay a separate fee to do that. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. That's what they say.
Can people file for asylum too?
Yes.
At your office?
Yes, I do asylum applications. So for people who are not familiar with asylum, this is typically more for people who are in the US and came here under 1 year, and they have a better chance of getting their green card through asylum. But if you have been here for more than a year and you want to file for asylum, it will be harder to get your green card. I'm straightforward with that. However, you will get a work permit and social security number in 6 months, regardless if you've been here for under a year, 6 years, 7 years, 1 year. You are still getting your work permit and social in 6 months, but I cannot guarantee you a green card. That's discretionary. So basically, asylum is saying that you left your home country because of some reason. A lot of people have been coming to my office from Guyana that have recently came because they're scared because of the whole Venezuela and Essequibo war. So that's, something that is legitimate and can be a reason. Other people, they've had, horrific experience being robbed, tortured, threatened to be killed because of their race, their sexuality, their political opinion, different reasons. So those are all reasons that you can apply for asylum, and we can help you. Another thing is VAWA. VAWA is Victims Against Abuse. So if you were married and your partner just deserted you, or you don't know where they are and you're still married, you can file to still get your green card through VAWA. That doesn't mean the person physically abused you. It means that, you're mentally abused, like they left you. I mean, that's more to be discussed in person, but that is an option for you. So a lot of people don't know, Leon, that there's so many different options. Like if you're a victim of a crime, you can get your green card. And crime is a very, big word. Crime is stalking. It's being harassed. It's, it's not just like somebody tried. Yes, right. Like bloodshed. Like crime is something much more. So if you're a victim of a crime and you fit certain criteria and you have a police report and you're going to cooperate with the police, you are eligible for a green card.
And in Balgobin, the number is 718-480-3518. Look at the card there. You have all the information, like her address as well. Simone Ross. You have the information there. We're with Melissa here tonight. Let me have your question, guys. We have a few minutes more. Simone is asking, I got married in Nigeria. My husband is still in Nigeria. I'm a citizen of America. How can I get my husband?
Hi, Simone. Thank you for your question. So the first step is we have to file the I-130. That's a petition for alien relatives. So we would need to petition for your husband to come here. So if you have not already started that, we need to file that as soon as possible. And since you're a citizen, the process shouldn't take too long. In order to do that, I would need your citizenship proof, whether that's your U.S. passport or a citizenship certificate, your marriage certificate, his passport, his birth certificate, any divorce decrees, if that's applicable. And once the case gets approved and it gets sent to the National Visa Center, then I'll need your tax return to show that you are financially qualified to sponsor your husband. So depending on your household income and how many people live in your household, when I say live in your household, how many people you claim on your tax return, that's the number they go by. So as long as you are able to financially sponsor him, and if you can, that's okay, you can get a co-sponsor, we can do it. So the first step is we have to file that petition. And for people who have already filed petitions and they don't know what's going on with their case or they need assistance, you can also contact me. So don't think that just because I didn't start your case, I won't help you. Because a lot of people do come to me mid-case, and that's because whoever they are using right now is just not getting back to them, or they're not happy with the results, or they just want to try somebody new. That's okay. I will definitely try to assist you with the best of my ability. So you can always, ask me questions if you're midway through a case, or if you want me to take over your case, I could do that too.
And her address is 10421 Lefferts Boulevard, South Richmond Hill, 10421 Lefferts Boulevard. This is a personal question. Does the speed in which the visa center operates and the State Department,
yes. I always
is
get
that
this question.
influenced by the administration that is in government?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't
But
answer
what
that.
influences their speed at which they operate?
So it really goes. They limit the number of visas that they give out every year. So if you're in different categories, so a really helpful website for people who don't know is the Visa Bulletin Board. So if you Google Visa Bulletin Board, you will see what year that they're up to. So this is another question I get often. Like, my case has been at the National Visa Center for 8 years. Like, why is it taking so long? Or it's 6 years, why is it taking so long? It really depends. So if usually the cases that take the longest are children over the age of 21, legally married children over the age of 21, and siblings sponsorship. Those are always the cases that take the longest. So don't feel frustrated because you're not the only one. And remember, this is what I tell a lot of my clients, like, it's not just Guyana or not just Trinidad, not just Suriname, whatever country it is. That's not the only country that, are getting green cards. Like, remember, it's the whole world. So you have to be aware that there's a certain number of visas that the U.S. can give out in general, not just to Guyana or, to Venezuela or whatever the country is. It's just in general. So they're very limited with the number of visas. The quickest is a U.S. citizen marrying a spouse. So if you're a U.S. citizen, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, that's always the quickest way.
Okay, I'm trying to understand Raj Prasad's question. If someone in Guyana application is in for the U.S., can they get a Canadian visa? You understand that?
Yes. So it looks like. Thank you, Raj, for your question again. So it seems like you're asking, somebody's in sponsorship to come to the U.S., but they also want to travel to Canada to get a visa. They can apply. It's discretionary though. So everything is discretionary. So if the Canadian government wants to give them a visa based off of their application, they can. I mean, it's discretionary, so they can always apply. And that's a question I get often with Guyanese that are in Guyana trying to get a visitor visa and they're in sponsorship. So if you're in sponsorship by, your spouse or your parent or whoever it is, and you want to go get a visitor visa, it's discretionary. So when I say discretionary, that means it's up to the embassy to decide if they want to give you that visitor visa. Most of the time I've seen they say no because they're like, okay, you're gonna come here anyway. You know, you just have to wait a couple more years or wait a couple more months, whatever it is. But if you really, the best chance of getting a visitor visa is you have to show you have a lot of ties to your country. So you have to go in there showing like, look, I have bank accounts in Guyana, I have property, I have a job, I have, you know, different resources, because they want to see that you're not going to abandon your country and stay here. So you can't just go empty-handed to your interview, meaning like just with your birth certificate and your passport and a marriage certificate. You have to show proof, like, look, I have all this stuff and I just want to go there on vacation. I'm coming back. I have a job here. I have money in the bank. I have my property. Why would I want to go abandon that? So you have to show that, because the number one, when I look at denials for my clients who show me, look, I was denied for a visitor visa, the number one reason is because they don't show enough ties to their country.
All right, well, closing remarks. Guys, we're here with Melissa at the Legend Cookhouse of Melissa and Co Business Consulting. With all your other questions, you can visit her office, 10421 Lefers Boulevard. And again, as she said, she can take your matter mid case, even if you're seeing a lawyer and you would like to still consult with her. She will address your issue. Her office is located at 10421 Lefers Boulevard. The number is 718-480-3518, and you can file taxes with her. You can talk about formation of businesses. Thank you, Raj Prasad, and you should Melissa, for the great advice. She gave all the great advice. If you still have questions, you may contact her personally and apply for birth certificates. Do you do that too?
We used to. We don't do them anymore. Yeah. So we refer most people to go to the Guyana consulate, or you can authorize. We do the authorization letter if you want to authorize a family member or a friend in Guyana to pick it up for you. We do that.
Passports and so on. You contact Melissa at Melissa and Co Business Consulting. Guys, your closing thoughts tonight, Melissa?
I just want to thank everyone for your questions and tuning in, and I hope I was helpful. By no means am I trying to steer you in any way. I just want you to be more knowledgeable about different topics. So I appreciate your questions and listening. And if we can help you in any way, feel free to just come on in, walk into my office. You don't need an appointment. Text us, call us, and like I said many times before, if you don't get us on the phone, because we do get a lot of calls a day, you can always email or text. If we don't get back to you right away, we will get back to you. And you can always, if we don't get back to you within the day, you can always send us a second message.
And if you missed her information is always posted at least once a day on 592, this page, and on my personal page as well, guys. Those are the texting numbers and the email address, and we would like to invite Ru back into the discussion tonight as we wrap up our first but not the last, right?
So we're so happy that we get to start this program, and you can see how valuable it is by talking to Melissa, and so many good information was disseminated. And if you have a business and you want to be in this forum, we welcome you. We want all of us to work together. We want to help each other, and we want this community to receive the best what each other have to offer. So we want to thank Melissa after work to come out and have a great discussion, and she provided a lot of information. And I hope that either in 2 weeks we have another program like this right here at Legend Cookhouse, and we start building on this. Like we said, we must, if you have in your desire to do something, start it. Doesn't matter how big or how little it is, but the main thing is for you to start. If you're saying that, hey, I want to be a mechanic, go to school. Go do something to make what you want happen. It's never too late. Always believe in yourself. And once again, we want to thank everyone who is on the live and who find the live tonight is beneficial. Please share the information, tell your friends. And that's it for us here tonight.
Thank you.
at the Legend
Thank
Cookhouse.
you from the Legend Cookhouse, and we hope to see you guys soon with more advisors, with more question and Q&A, and with more persons in the